Well, it would be impossible for people to do illogical things, you know? If I just want to chill out here in my apartment and not do anything and eventually starve to death, I can do that. And at a certain level, I suppose a person wouldn't because they're mechanical. I mean, they are. At lower levels of awareness, you are more mechanical. I admit that. Like, that's the thing. The way I view it is that, well, everything in the universe has the capacity for awareness, even what you would consider inanimate stuff. I would say that simply because I, and like everybody else, am made up of stuff that, if you shoot me in the head and I decay, well, it becomes inanimate again, right? There's inherent awareness is an inherent possibility in the very fabric of reality. In very complex systems, that possibility becomes expanded. Actually, another 9 minutes and we'll have half an hour. Boy, that goes by fast. I'll explain a bit about. I had a bit of a revelation recently when I figured out, to my own satisfaction, what awareness was to some degree, like more of a mechanical sense, but like where does it come from? What does it do? All that, and I kind of figured it out. It works like this. The universal principle that applies to a lot of this stuff, if you boiled it down to a word, it would be resonance. And that, in my opinion, is what awareness is. To explain it, you have to think about the mechanics of it a little bit. But it works like this. Like, biological organisms, of course, seem to have awareness, as far as we can tell, from various, very low awareness in the case of like an amoeba or something, even though they have amazing, quite remarkable awareness because they can learn things, they can do all kinds of stuff, going up through the animals and all the way to getting to man and possibly, dolphins or who knows, but at least man, we know is at least we can get to the level of self-consciousness. Well, the way that works is awareness is like a standing wave, is the best way I can put it. It's a resonance between internal structures and external structures. Take a baby, for example. Human being is born. It's a baby. It can barely control itself. It's just sort of, mechanically, it's of course, it has a huge amount of mechanical systems, genetic, this stuff, which is, of course, information that is built up over billions of years, quite possibly. But what it does, though, think about it. The process of developing awareness is interacting with your environment and internalizing the structure of your environment, the structure of the outer. So what you do is you build inner maps of outer reality, and you consult them, consciously and unconsciously, of course, beyond even the speed of your conscious awareness. But early on, a baby isn't really conscious. It's just, it likes certain things, it knows certain things, but, it certainly doesn't have self-awareness. It doesn't think, I'm a baby, I wonder what I'll do today. It's just, it's just feeding on all of that stimulus. But what happens is, of course, it ages, it internalizes more and more data, forming maps. Now, basically what I'm saying is, like, imagine that, like, outer thing, inner thing. It's like you have the outer world, you have like a miniature version of that world inside, your memories, your patterns of response, and, if I do this, this will happen. If I do that, this will happen. Controlling your own body, I move, I sort of think this way, I put this impulse and my hand moves this way. Baby keeps trying to control it until, it has good control finally. Da-da-da-da. So this advances. But what this is a resonance. It's awareness, goes out, comes back in, makes a map, goes out, comes back in, makes a map, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Now it's a teenager, Some teenagers are self-aware, some aren't. Some are just still they're just going around doing like that. I was aware that I was aware, like, even way back when. I mean, again, I remember I didn't have as much free will. I just, like I say, sort of automatically obeyed my parents and all that. but I was aware of my, just I don't know, I had a sense of my own awareness very early, which I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of us nerd types, I think, tend to have that. And it makes us more self-conscious. That's the whole, again, like, that's what makes people awkward. Like, if you're not aware of stuff, if you're just like, yeah, I'll go talk to that girl, ha ha ha, it's because you don't have any reflection on yourself. You're not thinking, oh, this could, I could have a bad result from this or anything. You're just like, I'm going to go do it, But what's interesting is when true self-awareness finally emerges from that, fairly sophisticated, like, say, teenage awareness, one day, most people, at least, it's like, I don't know, they sort of achieve that awareness of their awareness. They're like, oh, they can actually sit and think. Like Ricky and Trailer Park Boys. There's like words in my head. It's called thinking, Ricky. But anyway, self-awareness is when that, because that's the thing. Nothing in the universe ever stops moving. Everything is constantly vibrating, even if it looks to be still. So awareness is constantly moving. You're constantly either referring to your inner awareness or your outer, or observing the outer world. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You have this wave. And at a certain level, it becomes, well, that's the interesting bit, is that it's a bit like gravity, which I'll talk about in another one. Awareness is not a thing. It is a thing, but it's an emergent thing. It's a thing that literally, it's like a note. It's like music. It's like when you get, when you play something, you pluck a guitar string, right? It's a physical thing, a guitar string. When you pluck it, it goes here, here, here. It goes back and forth, and it produces a sound. But the sound is consistent. Even though the string is going like this, the sound it produces is, it's an A sound, A note or whatever, F note. It's consistent because it's like a buildup of all these tiny little energies in a very consistent way, and you get a consistent wave. It emerges from the behavior. The note emerges from the behavior of the guitar string. Is the note in the guitar string? See, that's the thing. It's perpendicular. It's not local in a sense. It's or maybe I'm misusing that. But you see my point. There's no F note in a guitar string. There's no F note around a guitar string. If you look at the guitar string, do you know that an F note can be produced from it consistently to the point where people can recognize it? No. It's an emergent phenomenon. That is what awareness is. Awareness is inner structure resonating with outer structure to the point where you have this thing. You have this informational construct which is consistent, and it's effectively like an object. It's sort of like a hologram being projected from this resonance, from this activity. It's a resonance. And we're almost at half an hour. I might go a little bit further here anyway. So basically, awareness grows more complex over time, depending on how much energy, time and energy, but energy in the end, is spent working on it, mapping it. If you just do things and you don't really increase your internal mapping, then the resonance doesn't increase. If you spend all your time thinking and meditating and trying to fix the errors in your perception, your awareness naturally increases and expands, and you hit the various levels. At first you're not even conscious. You're a baby. You're like you don't tend to remember things afterwards, right? Because you weren't really storing them in a consistent way. Eventually you're conscious. You wake up every day and you pretty much remember the day before. You can talk. You've got all these complex systems going. Eventually, you might gain self-awareness, and you're like, wow, you can sit and you can think. You can actually think in words. You can play music in your head. You can control it, stop it, start it. All these new amazing functions. And again, they're not mechanistic. I mean, they may have roots in various brain sectors or whatever, but to think that it is all just the product of random noise, it's just I just find it insane, basically. Anyway, so that there's awareness. Awareness is an emergent phenomena from the interaction between